Okay, guys, so today we're going to finish up with part two of the French Revolution. However, you think, okay, this is the part where they go from monarchy to democracy. No, it's not even going to be close, so let's look at it. All right, so hey, the king's dead, yay! But here's the problem. They created the second constitution, of course, without an actual executive branch. So who's supposed to carry out all the laws? Well, they're like, well, let's do it by committee. A committee that's very democratic. So they create something called the Committee of Public Safety, which will be led by a man with one of the greatest names in history, Maximilien Robespierre. And he was really an incredibly intelligent man. He was big on the Enlightenment. He wanted to actually create like a true democracy, almost Athenian style. But here was what got him. In doing that, what he hated was chaos, and he felt that that was the problem early on in the French Revolution, was this chaos, and that in order to get this to work, that there must be true order, and true order must be enforced through frightening levels of force, and it would get frightening. And what you end up getting is that the enforcement hand of the Committee of Public Safety would be known as the Terror. That's right, they called themselves the Terror. Um, the National Convention would pass laws and all this stuff, but in the end, it's Robespierre that is actually running the nation. You can do whatever you want as long as you're not against what they feel is good for France. And really, the way that those people were dealt with was, as you see on the right, the guillotine, which was created to make the execution of someone a lot more humane, which in many ways, as long as you have a nice sharp blade, it really is. But then, in order to make extra money, they actually had a tax on a sharp blade if you were executed. So, yeah, there's that. And so, France basically is going to become under power of this terror, which would be very, very frightening. Now, there was a good side to Robespierre, which is development of the Republic of Virtue, that France is going to become nationalized. They do adopt that flag that you see here, but everything is for France. They will develop an education system, which is really good. Marriage is going to be done through the state, not the church. They will adopt the metric system. They will pretty much completely break the power of the church, so no more first estate, that's gone. And then they do some wacky things, like they rename the months of the year and days of the week. They start over their calendar. So 1794, when all this is really happening, will become year one. And you see kind of this dichotomy going on here of a guy that seems to be doing everything for the glory of France, but is going to kill anyone that gets in his way to do it. And Robespierre is just, he just goes over the top, and then eventually you're going to get people that start resisting him, particularly women. Many women will speak out against him quite a bit, because still no rights for ladies, sorry, but still not there. He then starts to increase the terror. In many ways, you guys were talking about that, like almost like a Stalin purge type thing, that anybody that was seen as being a possible threat would be arrested, typically arrested, tried, and executed all on the same day. And he would also go after members of the National Convention. So no status level could get away from him. And 1794 was just really the worst. Everyone that is even thinking about going against France, you could be accused of anything and you were labeled an ultra-revolutionary. Everyone is just getting arrested. You're no longer allowed the right to a lawyer at trial. There's only a couple jurors. The only type of sentences you could have is acquittal or death. Then they create these new crimes like slandering patriotism or seeking to inspire discouragement, whatever that means. And by 1794, they're having 26 executions a day, and it didn't matter who it was. On the right here is a man with his wife. That is Antoine Laurent Lavoisier. He is the founder of modern chemistry. He basically developed the periodic table and the law of conservation of mass and all of those types of things. And he was evidently friends with some guys that weren't necessarily pro-Robespierre, but really didn't lead a revolution at all, and he would get arrested for them. And then at his trial, when people were trying to defend them, and hundreds of people were trying to defend him, and look, he's a genius, he can do all these things. The judge's reply was, the Republic has no need of genius, and Antoine Laurent Lavoisier would be executed. But in a bizarre way, the army just keeps winning. They had already beaten Prussia, which we talked about. Then they will defeat Austria and actually seize part of the Netherlands from them, including Belgium, or including, sorry, Brussels and Antwerp. They will then expand into Belgium a little bit. It's crazy, like how this country could keep winning. And remember, they were also involved in as far back as the 1780s and beating France in the American Revolution. So militarily, this is like the height of French power. The army is increasing in size, but at the same time, in 1794, 1 out of every 50 Frenchmen had actually been sent to jail. It's crazy. All right, finally, people have had enough. At one point, the Vendée region in western France, the whole place rebels, and you actually have a mini civil war on your hand. And then the National Convention, as you see here on the right, will finally arrest Robespierre and accuse him basically of treason. But because the army had been so victorious, a small group of them actually tries to lead a coup to rescue him. The coup will fail, and Robespierre is then executed. So what ends up happening in 1795 is they will have to create a third government. Most of Robespierre's top men, they're going to kill them too, because, why not? They will make truce with the people of Vendée, and something known as the Directory is set up. It is a two-house legislature in very similar to the United States of America. All men have voting rights, and the executive branch will be known as the Directory, and it is made up of 5 men who are appointed by the legislature. Okay, so 2 houses of government with a 5-man executive branch. And the Directory will go on a pretty nice run from actually 1795 to 1799, and they will massively expand. Again, they will continue to expand their power. Austria, Prussia, and Russia will actually take some time, instead of attacking France, go after and unfortunately destroy Poland, and Poland will disappear in the late 1700s, won't come back again until 1919. And while that is going on, they being the French, will take time to increase their army to over 700,000 men. They will increase the budget for food. They will buy the typical blue French uniform. Advancement is based on merit and merit only. The idea is that this is a standing army and you fight for the glory of France. The nobility is basically gone. And the guy that is slowly going to rise through the ranks, actually not slowly, quite quickly rise through the ranks, through a lot of his early success, which we will get into after the revolutions, will be one Napoleon, as you see him there on the right side, who will be responsible for lots of the expansion of France. So by about 1799, we have a calming period. It seems like France is kind of on the move toward democracy, but you see the chaos that it took to get there. But it's really not going to be over, because as many of you know, very shortly Napoleon is going to seize power and even more chaos is going to break. All right, guys, get your questions and comments, and I will see you tomorrow.